Clutch is in the middle, gas is on the left, and the brake is on the right.
I thought the gas was in the middle.
That's on the European cars. The Japanese cars are different, I think. And the steering is backwards. Turn it left to go right, right to go left. Standard European steering, or Japanese steering. And first is down to the left, in the middle, to the right, and up.
Oh, you have to like go like that, and that, and then...
Alright, so these are the parts he's supplied. He has the turbo and the outlet flange. He has a new plenum. I think that replaces part of the plenum on the engine. We'll show you that here in a second. And a pipe kit. Some blue hoses. He didn't mention putting those on, but if we can find out where they go, we'll install those too. And then of course an intercooler. We're going to have to build some proper brackets to install that correctly. And of course a bunch of T-bolt clamps. So this is an upper plenum, which probably means you use the base from the factory system. Alright, so this looks pretty stock under here. Apart from the filter, it would have had an airbox over there. So we're going to be replacing this upper plenum right here. It looks like it bolts back to the factory system. And of course the air, water hoses need to be really relocated. That battery is probably going to be in the way. I'll check. I don't know if he supplied a battery. It's going to need a dry cell if it goes in the trunk. Radiator he wants to replace. And of course the turbo and the manifold over here. We'll go take a look. I think he supplied all those parts. But this is what it looks like right now. Let's take a quick before picture right here. Alright, so this is collection. Here is the exhaust manifold he's supplying with a gasket kit. Alright, so the intake plenum is off now and the turbo is off the side. Manifold just has to be removed, and we'll start looking at the fitment. So far, let me show you what we're doing with fitment. Alright, so this is the turbo he has provided, and this would be a really nice adapter if you know, it went from the 6-bolt to a 3-inch V-bend. But the problem is, pick a hole. You can only have one hole though. It doesn't fit. It's not the same at all. So this is the gasket that came off the factory downpipe. That kind of verifies it, just in case somebody watches it and said, hey, if you turn it the other way, it'd work. It's not going to work. But the turbo is the same as the factory downpipe, but the factory downpipe isn't going to do us any good at all because it has this manifold. I don't know whose makes it, but apparently that fits the head and that fits that. So fingers crossed something starts fitting here soon. The drain and water lines are similar, but of course they're going to be in different places, so we've got to figure that out. And the chance of that intercooler pipe kit fitting is sketchy at best. So here's our plenum. Let's get an idea of how close, if close at all, this is. So this is the location of the plenum, which actually is better than I thought, I've got to admit it. It's not, of course, bolted on. I don't know which one of these line up because some bolts went from the top, some the bottom. But obviously the battery is really close to that throttle body. The battery might push over a little bit to give us, just like that, gives a little bit of room. Rotate that over. Of course everything's loose, just like that. The throttle body can come here and we can go down. So we'll see how close this thing is. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So the gasket fits this and fits the plenum. These are dowels that are designed to work on the gasket. The manifold plenum doesn't have them. These two are threaded, this one and this one, and of course the manifold is designed for the bolts to come underneath. So basically what I did is I marked those right here, and what we will do is we will drill the manifold with the correct size, which I marked on the wrong side. So that is going to be that one and this one. What I'll do is drill those so this will actually align the manifold perfect, because the gasket fits perfect, but it would just help us assemble it and make the bolts start exactly right. So I'll go ahead and do that, drill that. Didn't come with fittings here for vacuum lines, so we're going to have to find those and supply them for various vacuum sources. The idle valve does fit back on there, so I'm a little bit more optimistic now.
It's only really going to go one way, so...
I did find this flange. I just overnighted it, so it should be here tomorrow, fingers crossed, but this is just a standard RB20 flange apparently. Who knows what this is. This is a 6-bolt flange off something else, so at least we can build a downpipe. I'm not going to be ready for the downpipe tomorrow, but I always like to give us an extra day. That way if they mess up and it comes in 2 days, at least there is more chance of us getting it when we need it. Is it even close? Is it close at the back?
Maybe. We'll have to pull the whole gate off and check.
Pull that and see if it'll swing around, see if it gets close, and that'll be our deciding factor.
Yeah, I don't think the top mount manifold is designed for a stock replacement turbo.
No, I don't think so. I don't know what it's designed for. Alright, I drilled the dowels, so that is exactly where the manifold needs to go. We'll put the throttle body on there and we'll see how close it is to here, but it looks like it's all up in the business of the battery right now. Alright, so that's where the manifold and throttle body go. As you see, if we draw a line here, about there, the battery's in the way. This is the fun part. So it's like, how far do you go with this before you tell the customer none of this stuff is any good? And you feel bad, you know, somebody saved their money to buy this stuff, but it's stuff that's just, who knows what it's supposed to fit. It's just parts. You know, this might work, but it doesn't look like it'll work either. Everything is just slightly compromised. Right now we're looking at the turbo to see if the turbo is even doable, but it looks like that manifold is kicking the turbo so far that way. I mean, look at the angle on that thing. It's crazy. Someone's gone to a lot of effort to build this. Of course, it's an overseas manifold, but it's a lot of work to build one of those things. And if you're building to a fixture, and the fixture probably hasn't been test fitted at all. Okay, crazy. End of day one, the intake manifold is just bolted on. Of course, it didn't fit quite right. The bolt holes didn't line up. I had to retap the threads. All the threads was a little sketchy. But it's on, and we got the brass fittings we need for it. Also, it's actually kind of funny. There's more, I won't go into details. Turbo manifold is here. It just fits. We have our fittings on here for our water lines. That is actually, drain line is, it's actually going to be rotated. Drain line, the feed is figured out. Of course, they cap it. George has already rebuilt the actuator bracket so it'll actually work, because the way it was set up, it was hitting the block big time. It was not going to fit on anything close. The factory intercooler, by the way, if you've never seen one, these suckers are tiny. You can get an idea of how big this guy is or how small it is. That's my hand. That's a little tiny intercooler, so it probably drops the temperatures a little bit, but not very effective. Well, the one that he has supplied for it is a monster intercooler. So that is going to be up in this area. 5 has to be trimmed. It's an aftermarket bumper. This probably going to be marking some kind of line down here, trying to make it, you know, so it looks like it's supposed to be there. Horns are almost certainly going to have to be relocated. Intercooler will be, of course, sitting here, and there'll be a pipe going each direction. The battery used to sit here. This is directly into the intake manifold, by the way. Once I get an idea of where it's going to be, we're going to hole saw this and make it neat and put some edging around here, make it look good. Bring our pipe in over to the intercooler. Car is up in the air, so I can't show you that right now. And turbo side, we're going to have to choose one of these holes, more than likely enlarge it and get one of the intercooler pipes through here. I think the intercooler pipe we're going to put towards the back side, so we have room for an intake on this side. But a lot of preparation a lot of test fit and a lot of and R-ing and how we're going to make this work, and also kind of learning lessons from this. So we'll show you this a little bit more tomorrow on day 2. Alright, so the flange did come in, the one that I overnighted. This is the 6 bolt, and of course it's like a funny oval shape. So what we did is took a bend here and formed a straight so we could get, you know, that it's almost like a rectangle shape, but it fits and covers the flange properly. It's gonna flow pretty well too. It's a full 3-inch. Downpipe is finished here right now. We have about 3/4 of an inch between the header pipe and the tube. We have about 2 inches here, about 1.5 inches here. Probably wrap that tube just to give it a little bit more survival rates. Probably, you know, and get just my knuckles in it and get my hand between it. Once it goes up, we can finish the downpipe. The O2 is right here. It came out the factory downpipe. It's going to go back somewhere around here, somewhere looking reasonable. I don't know, somewhere in there, but it's got to go back in, and then of course the intake. But we made pretty good progress. It's starting to look good. Whatever we do, we're trying to make it look reasonable, of course. There's a few things that still kind of flop around like this. There's a lot of little things like that. I don't really know what to do. I'll probably zip tie that back to the wire. This used to be covered up with that intake plenum, so now it's all open. Now it kind of makes you, you know, want to clean it and powder coat the valve cover. Then you start making it look, you know, a little prettier. To reuse the right hose and also to make it look clean, this is the original hose, and then this is an aluminum piece bent up so it fits nice and clean, and that over here we don't have any hose rubbing or chafing over here. Now it's a solid hose. The discharge from the turbo in here we're working on right now. This is actually a mounting tab, so this sits in the hole. I zoom in here so George don't hit the camera with his wrench. As you see, there is some edge guard around there. You see the black, and then right below it is the silicone coupler. This bolt here is actually attached to a tab below here, so this, once it's on there, it'll sit there and it won't move. Alright, so this side intercooler pipe is done, the intake is done, it is recirced. There's a blow-off valve that we had, it didn't have one, so it has to recirc so it doesn't freak out with the mass air. Other part of the intercooler piping is on right here. You just got your big spotlight to put back on. This is where it's clamped here. I was talking about it's on the frame here, so that part isn't going to move. It still has flex, but it's not going to rattle in that hole, just to make sure. Once that is done, we're going to finish the downpipe. The downpipe goes down to here. O2 bung is in there. This is just loose. I know someone's going to point that out. Hey dude, your O2's loose. Yeah, I know. So there it goes. Which one?
Our O3's loose too.
Which O3?
It's right behind the O2.
Oh, the second one down?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we get down. That's for further down. So we're going to continue that and run it into the factory catalytic converter, which we already have a flange for. We'll show you that here in a second when it goes up in the air. Alright, so that pipe is on and tight. The downpipe is finished. It's just getting tightened up right now. As you see, it has an extra brace here. This is the way you should do it. So this part is tied to the block, and then you run your flex here, so it allows, let me get some distance, allows your exhaust to move around without putting all the stress on the downpipe. Most importantly, the manifold. Don't have a whole lot of knowledge of that manifold, so I don't know how long it will last, but that's one of the reasons we do this. And this is a holder that's actually designed to do that job. This is from the Honda S2000. We occasionally order extras, and that's why we will use them, because they're designed to do exactly that. And you know, it's going to have the right shape, the right metal, and it'll deal with the heat and have enough flex. So that's what it looks like. It's a full 3-inch. It is the factory cat, and it is a 3-inch exhaust after it, so if he changes anything, he can grow into it. He doesn't have to change the downpipe. That should make all the power he's needed. Alright, so battery is hooked up All the fluids are in there. We're gonna go ahead and start her up, just make sure everything is happy. Downpipe is on, O2 sensor is in. Everything looks good, everything is hooked up. Let's crank her up, make sure it is happy. Yeah, the idle valve was pulling in fresh air, which was not getting routed through the mess, so the car didn't know it was getting extra air and making it run quite rough. So now we have to change that. Now it's got a filter on there. It pulls air in from the intake just the way the factory would do it. So we go ahead and start it now, let you take a listen. Also, we're going to get in on the right hand side of the car, which we're going to call it the driver's side. All right, let's go ahead and turn the key. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? All right, so this one is done. We can call the customer. And I think he's gonna take it someone to have it tuned, because obviously the efficiency is gonna be way different. The intake manifold and turbo manifold, everything is gonna be different to get maximum power out of it. So I'm sure that is gonna happen. And if I hear the results, I'll follow up and let you know. Any idea what these are? These are what we picked up at SEMA. Talk about this on another video, but we were walking around and we basically bought like 3 things within 50 feet of each other. In fact, one of them is over there. It just came in yesterday. I'll show you that a little bit later. Bubble wrap. So this is an Inline Pro B-Series stainless manifold. First off, these are expensive as all. So eBay kind of seems really attractive. You buy an eBay manifold for 60 bucks. It looks just like this. I'll talk about this on another video. I'll talk about what it's going on, what it's for, what we're doing with it, what it fits like. We'll do a close-up. I'll show you all about it. So this is for a future project. We'll talk about that in another video too. Again, I guess I'm kind of teasing this. Phone's ringing, but I don't want to confuse too many things going on in one video, because then I'll forget what I've told you. So it's easier just to kind of keep each project to each video. But all right, so this is the first one off the fixture. What we're going to do is just verify it works. Basically, the fixture is kind of like a mold. You make a mold off the original part, and then you make the new part from the mold, and then make sure it fits the part that you need it to fit. So this is for a cool project that's going to turn into something a little bit bigger pretty soon. All right, so every shop must have one of these. This is a hydraulic. It's actually had a piece on here, but it's for lifting transmissions. Every shop has to have one, and one of the key features is it has to leak. Even if it's brand new and you replace the seals and rebuild and replace the oil and put stop leak in it, they have to leak. It's mandatory. And of course, to lift a transmission up, you have to pump this about 2,000 times, and when you pump it, fluid comes out of here. And then to go down, you twist this knob here, which is just a pain. So always looking for a better version of one of these. The end that went on here was actually pretty good, so let's show you what we got at SEMA. All right, so this guy right here, this is kind of like a mechanical version, and rather than, this is the top, which has our tilt on it. This is what we use for transmissions. You know, this tilts here, this tilts, and it gives us the ability to put all the stuff on there, like mufflers when we're trying to get an angle. But this here, you wind it. First off, it goes up so much faster, and it also goes higher, and there's no special lock. You just turn it. There's no fluid or no hydraulic juice to come out and drip. But then to go down, you just turn it backwards. There's no lock, no special, you know, little tabs that you gotta twist and push. You just turn it, and you go little by little. But it's not gonna leak, and it's fast. You don't have to press that pedal 2,000 times to make it operate. And this part lifts off. I made it so we can put our piece back on there. or we can interchange that and put a different end on it. But this was one of those things that we played with our SEMA. These guys make the tool for compressing springs for you to do spring and shock work. We don't do enough of that, so we're not going to buy one. But this, we saw this and said we have to have it. So between this, that other tool in the red box, and this ginormous fan right here, that's what we purchased at SEMA. All within about 50 feet of each other. Alright, so this is just a follow-up with this guy. Changed the base. It had a round base, of course, you know, you couldn't move it. This is the old wheels from our other stand. We just basically put a plate on here, welded that on there, so now you can move this. But now we've had this thing 2 months. I can report we absolutely love it. It's the best thing ever. So much better than the hydraulic. And it doesn't leak, you know, a little bit of grease around here just from, you know, the lubrication. That's it. There's no hydraulic fluid in this thing. It is unbelievable. This is the part number SK1500. Google search that. They're all over the place, but these guys make, this is, I believe, 200 pounds. They make one for 500 pounds. Well, S2000 transmissions weigh probably about 70 pounds, so this is no problem for us at all. But yeah, just wanted to do a follow-up. If it sucked, I would tell you it sucks, but it doesn't. It's great. And this guy, this thing is awesome. So while we're doing a follow-up, I did want to do a follow-up on these floors. This is the Swiss tracks. I did a video on this where we did some testing and where we, you know, hit it with a hammer and welded on it and that kind of stuff. This is our main area. This, I think we've vacuumed it twice. Beauty of this is if you look down here, anything that gets stuck, traps in these individual squares, you run a vacuum over here and it comes out easy. But the main thing is it always looks clean. When you walk in, the floor looks pretty good. There's the odd leaf, of course, but the floor looks good, and it really could do with, I think you'd use like a mop and glow or something like that to clean it, but we haven't touched it. It's been, like I said, vacuumed twice. When I say vacuumed, we have one of those, you know, those roll around. In fact, let me show you. That guy right there. Bought this at Home Depot for like 30 bucks. And it's in this office too. But, yep, just wanted to follow up and tell you, again, if it sucked, I would tell you it sucks. It is really good. I love this stuff. Swiss tracks, check it out. Watch the video where we did the test and how easy it is to install. So guys, thanks for watching. If you do like what you see, hit the subscribe, click the bell, hit the notification. I'm actually editing another video right now. This was a naturally aspirated S2000, so look out for that if you like S2000 content. We have it. This one just finished today. It's going back to Virginia. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video. And like I always say, click the subscribe, help us out. We're trying to hit 40,000 subscribers and we're so close. So again, see you on the next video. I'll let this video play out. Ready?